Welcome back to the Kingpin Chronicles, where real crime meets real consequences and real redemption. I'm your host, DP, and tonight, man, I'm gonna get this into something we're gonna touch some people and we're gonna cut a little deep with this one, right? We're gonna talk about something that the streets sell you every day, right? But it ain't gonna never be able to deliver it, right? You're gonna be able to get the fast money, right? You're gonna be able to get flashy respect from everybody, right? You're gonna have a little bit of control, right? And it all gonna look like power, right? Until the game flip on you. When the game flip on you, that's when you're gonna learn that you really ain't got no power in the streets. This one right here for anybody who think that the crown is worth the coffin. And we're gonna get right into this. What's up, y'all? What's up, y'all? Uh, this story or this episode, right, is important because it's something that needs to be touched on, right? Because I'm from St. Pete. I grew up in St. Pete, right? And we saw what we thought power was as jits, right? Growing up, you saw the dudes coming through with the Benzes, the gold Rolexes, 10 phones, all of them bamming at the same time, and we think that that's power, right? The streets kind of make you believe that that kind of power will make you like untouchable or like you above everybody else and like you on a level to where that you don't see nobody, that's you get in the mindset to where that you think that you actually better than the game itself, right? But what they don't tell you really is that everybody that achieved the level of what we consider a kingpin, right? That we respect, right? They either dead, locked up, broke, or in jail right now today. And if you ask me, man, that ain't power, man. That's bait. That's a trick. That's where all of the flashy stuff, the jewels, all of that you see these dudes putting on out in the streets, living in what they call the culture, right? That's the bait. That's how they trick you into thinking that that stuff is easily attainable. All you gotta do is get you some work and put in a little bit of work. But that ain't how it worked, man, because I've seen it time and time and time again, right? Where people get it all in the streets. Dudes, two, three cars, they living nice, they got that baby, they constantly traveling, doing whatever, man. It's whatever, man. And they had the money, they had the status, they kind of have people where they got a little bit of fear of them because with to achieve that kind of status, you're gonna be having had to put down one or two times. And I don't mean unaliving nobody, but it's gonna have to be known that you ain't the one to be played with, or you just gonna be food for people, right? And in all this, people tend to lose themselves and forget about the standards, the morals, the principles, and the rules to the game, right? And you know, you get to a point where you always got to watch your back, right? Every deal you make could be the setup that's going, end everything, man, and take you down, right? Even your best friends out here could be a snake. You get to where that you can't trust nobody and you be pretty much alone, right? So power in the streets really turn into more of like paranoia and pain, because you have to go through it with people. If you really got it like that, you taking the losses, or your friend might get hit, you got to bond them out, or, and some of us lose, our loved ones and our homeboys in the streets in this life, man. And then the worst of it is the prison time. And that's time away from your family. That's time where you ain't productive. That's time where you really ain't good to none of it. And the reason I can speak on this in the way that the reason that I can get on YouTube and in front of the world and talk about this is because I myself lived it. I lived that life, right? I was the one that I thought everything was good. I thought my money could buy my freedom. I thought that my money, right, would keep everybody happy with me. Mm. I thought that my money, right, would be able to smooth everything out, right? But when it all came crashing down, the same people who be clapping and cheer for you, they're gonna be the same people disappear and be talking about how stupid you was and how they knew this was gonna happen to you and how you should have saw it coming. You shouldn't have trusted him. You shouldn't have been so flashy. They're gonna have all this to say, right? And your power ain't gonna be nothing. That's when you're gonna realize. I realized when I was up the road during prison time, right? I had to be away from my family for 2 years, right? For two sales of crack cocaine, $150 sale and a $500 sale. So $650 cost me 2 years in prison, right? So that's not power, right? That's not power. In my opinion, now where I am in life, what I understand is what power really is. And more importantly, I understand firmly, right? The misconception that I had as a younger man, right? About power, right? Real power ain't loud, right? Real power is being able to walk away from that confrontation instead of somebody having to lose their life or you get into a fight and hurting somebody or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Real power is building something legit, right? That can't be taken from you, right? Real power is using your life, your story, your experiences, right? Because it got to be worth something better than uh just riding it away in jail, right? Real power is using your story to stop somebody else from repeating the same mistakes that you made. If you telling your story for anything other than that, you're wasting your time, and I don't applaud that, right? Ain't no glorification in the game, right? Ain't no happy endings to the game, right? If you young, you hungry, and tempted by the fast life, I'm telling you, don't fall for the illusions. Don't fall for the tricks, man, because it's a trick, bro. And at the end of it is a dead end, right? And it's only two dead ends: death, jail. You feel me? And some people willing to live with that, man. I know a lot of people that's willing to play with their lives and take that chance and shake the dice and get on out. They're still, man, with the way this thing is. But man, real power is when even if you come from the streets, right? Because I come from the streets, man. And a lot of people, most people come from some kind of hustle, right? Ain't nobody perfect. Everybody had to find their way, right? So I shared my story, and my reason for sharing my story is because I saw the same thing that these youth out here seeing, the young ones out here seeing, right? But I saw it in real life. Now we got a cartoon character portrayal of what we was really doing back then. You know, these dudes all flash and flaunt and they make it look good, right? And they make it look appealing. And we get caught up in the materialistic stuff, the stuff that ain't typical or normal for people to have. They got people chasing, wanting their own Lamborghinis and Bentleys and all of this stuff that ain't typical stuff for us to be. It ain't typical, man. And you can't chase the billionaire life when you 100 out, and trying to become a billionaire overnight in all the wrong ways, right? Gonna put you in a jail cell. It's gonna put you in a graveyard, right? or you're gonna turn out to be one of these dudes that don't take no responsibility for their own mistakes and mishaps in life, and other people have to suffer for what they doing out here, what they got going on, man. So I think we need to be working a little bit harder and sharing more content, man, and using our stories to show that what we had going on, that wasn't power. It just looked good. It just looked good because our power went like that. When them people slapped them cuffs on, the power was gone. It was gone. It was theirs. They came and showed us who really had the power in that game. So if you want to play in them streets, man, that's the police game. They control that. They regulate that. You don't got no control. All you can do is all the things that's gonna give them more control over you if you choose to live that life, man. And it's never failed, right? This ain't nothing new that we telling people. People told us this, right? But we didn't listen, right? Just like some of y'all ain't gonna listen. Just like a lot of the people skip right on off this when they heard somebody talking in a positive way because they don't want to hear that. They're not gonna push this. If we was on here talking about get the choppers and we cripping and blooding and GDing and slime life or whatever all this is, man, they have us all over the internet, man. They have us all over the internet. They're not gonna push this. We got to be the ones to push these types of messages. We got to be the ones to get behind each other, right? When we see each other, right? Making a positive effort towards our society, our culture, our youth, because our youth is our future. And if we don't reach them, they're going to destroy each other and ain't going to be no future up for us. So, man, make sure you share this episode with somebody who might be on the edge, man, somebody who need to hear the truth before the streets claim them, man. It's a little too late for me with my oldest son. You know, I shared a video, go back and watch it. I'm gonna attach it to this one. And you know, society impact was a little bit heavier than mine, and I wasn't able to get to him fast enough. And that power he thought he had, people came and showed him who had the real power, right? So make sure, man, to follow this podcast, this channel, man. More real stories, raw truth, and redemption coming soon, right? Until the next time, man, y'all make sure y'all stay safe out there. Stay solid, man, and let's wake ourselves and our youth up and let them know that it ain't no power in the streets. Power is entrepreneurship, skills, right? Abilities, right? Being able to do something that's worth something, being able to produce something that's worth something, not being able to get something to poison your own people. We fell out like that, man, and we doing this to let y'all know we made a mistake. We know we set a bad example, and we know that we the only ones that's gonna be able to straighten this thing out and reach the people who need to be reached. So make sure, man, y'all uh, like the video, share the video, man. Turn somebody who need to hear this type of talk onto the channel because this is what we here for. We ain't on here with all that clowning and all that. So with that said, I'm gone, man, and just let the kids and youth and even the older dudes know, man, what power really look like, man. Power look like what I'm doing right now. I'm sitting in my business. I'm sitting in my business that's 100% black owned, right? Ain't no mortgage, free and clear, right? And I'm a serial entrepreneur, meaning I have a bunch of talent and skills that I use, right, to produce products and services and offer out to the public, right? And I'm able to be my own boss, right? I don't have to take no orders from nobody, but I'm just as effective, right? Because I make sure the quality of my work is good and up to standard, right? And I make sure the quality of my service is good and up to standard. It's just that easy. It ain't no different than the streets, my G. So listen to your OG, man, DP. I'm a young OG because I walked away, man. And I'm asking y'all to do the same, man, before it's too late, man. The streets claiming too many of us, man. There's too many of us behind that wall, man. And if we keep up at the rate that we going right now, man, we ain't gonna be around too much longer, y'all, man. Let's be the ones to straighten it up, man, and stop begging people to do something when we the only ones that can fix it. I'm out, DP, Kingpin Chronicles.